Hey there, I'm meteorologist Dan Nyman here for News Channel 7 in Panama City Beach. And even on a quiet day like today, there's plenty of interesting things to talk about as a ridge of high pressure has control over much of the southern United States. And that ridge allowing for lots of heat to build, especially in parts of Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, with heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in effect in those regions. But just to the east of that, along the eastern seaboard, another interesting phenomena is now taking place. And we saw it here, believe it or not, in the Panhandle. Look at this sunrise as the sun rose, very muted in nature. And you notice that gray haze that exists across the skyline as it rose. Not a typical sunrise here. In fact, it's hard to see Panama City from our tower cam just over the bay in Panama City Beach. Out across the area right now, Choctaw Beach, you'd see decreased visibility. Same goes at Bay Point as the camera turns towards the east and people start to get out by the water to make use of the gorgeous weather that we were expecting today. You'll notice that sky looking a lot more orange and gray than typical blue and sunny. It's all because of increased smoke in the atmosphere as Canadian wildfires continue to rage on. Believe it or not, it's been steered down here in the Panhandle. We have some decreased air quality in inland portions of the Panhandle by Tallahassee, Marietta, or even out towards Pensacola at the moment. Air quality just moderate at the moment, so not a huge effect that we're expecting in terms of the air you breathe down at the surface, but we do have plenty of it in the upper parts of the atmosphere. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the look at the near surface smoke. This provided by the high resolution rapid refresh model. You might know of it as the HRR. And we have very low levels of smoke right here where we are standing. But up above us, that total column smoke from the surface to the tropopause, you'll notice much deeper and more pronounced colors of oranges and yellows over the next couple of days. As this loop starts, it's the beginning of what we're currently at, the current time. And there's plenty of orange over top of us before it spreads down towards the southeast and things start to just quiet down a little bit, at least in terms of those upper level visibilities. It could have an influence on our forecast today. High temperatures expected to be back in the mid-90s in inland areas, but smoke often can help scatter the UV rays entering our atmosphere, which would be a somewhat cooling process, or at least allow for temperatures to be cooler than we would expect. So maybe instead of high temperatures today being in those mid-90s, which would be very warm and of course more uncomfortable when you factor in the humidity, we could be a lot closer to the 90-degree mark or maybe 91 degrees as a result. But I do expect everything to get steered off towards the southeast here shortly. Notice that ridge to our west, pushing everything up around that ridge, and then soon after, we're going to fire that dry air and smoke off towards the Florida Peninsula and later into the Atlantic. So the 48-hour smoke forecast loop here, this is the total smoke once again. You see activity really starting to wane a bit as we head into the later portions of the week by Thursday or Friday. Not a whole lot to be concerned about here, but still an interesting phenomenon and a very cool reminder here in the Panhandle of how the atmosphere is all connected as we see wildfire smoke from over 1,500 miles away in Canada.